Sometimes, the moment your life falls apart is the moment it finally begins. There was a man named Ryan Carter. On the surface, his life looked perfect. A great job, a corner apartment, a car that turned heads, and a future that seemed unstoppable. But deep down, Ryan was running on empty. His days were filled with deadlines, not dreams. He smiled at meetings, but his eyes were tired. The kind of tired that sleep can't fix. Then one morning, everything changed. It was a cold Tuesday in March when Ryan's boss called him in. The company was cutting costs, and Ryan's department was being downsized. He stared at the man across the desk, hearing words but not feeling them. Nothing personal. His boss sighed. Just business. Hours later, Ryan carried a box of his belongings out of the glass building, the one he thought he'd retire from someday. The automatic doors closed behind him, and we'd him a chapter of his life. At first, he told himself it was temporary. A week off would help. Then 2. But weeks turned into months. The rent was due. The phone stopped ringing. Friends drifted away, busy with their own lives. And slowly, Ryan's confidence began to disappear too. He spent hours scrolling through job sites, sending out resumes that went unanswered. His coffee went cold beside him every morning, untouched, like his motivation. And in the mirror, he no longer saw the sharp, confident man he used to be. He saw someone broken, lost, invisible. One evening, as the city lights flickered on, Ryan walked through the rain. No umbrella, no destination. He sat on a park bench across from his old office building. He watched the employees go in and out, laughing, talking, living, and he whispered, almost to himself, I used to be one of them. The next morning, Ryan woke to the sound of rain again. Bad. Tistem. Something felt different. He remembered something his father once said. Son, when the roof leaks, don't curse the rain, fix the roof. That sentence replayed in his head all day. For the first time in weeks, Ryan stopped asking why me, and started asking, what now? He needed to do something. Anything to get moving again. So he took the only job he could find, washing cars at a small garage downtown. The first day was humiliating. People he used to know drove past, pretending not to recognize him. The water was freezing, his back ached, and the pay was almost nothing. But when he looked at his hands, dirty, soaked, tired, he felt something he hadn't in months. Pride. For the first time, he'd earned something again. Not a salary, but self-respect. A few weeks later, he noticed an old man who worked at a nearby shop. Every evening, that man repaired bicycles under a flickering streetlight, humming softly to himself. Ryan asked him once, how do you keep smiling while working so hard? The old man chuckled and said, because every wheel I fix keeps me moving forward too. That sentence stuck with Ryan. He started to change slowly. He began keeping a journal, writing one thing each night he was grateful for. Some days, it was just a hot meal. Other days, the sunset looked peaceful. But little by little, those notes began rebuilding something inside him. Hope. Ryan also began helping others, delivering groceries to elderly neighbors, volunteering on weekends. It wasn't glamorous, but it filled his days with purpose. One night after finishing a delivery, a stranger handed him a $20 tip and said, I see how hard you work, man. Don't stop. That sentence broke something open in Ryan. For the first time in months, he smiled, not because life was easy, but because he realized that failure hadn't ended his story. It had only paused it. 6 months later, Ryan received an email. A local nonprofit organization had seen his posts about community work. They wanted him to come in for an interview, not for a corporate job, but to lead a small mentorship program for people who had lost their jobs. Ryan hesitated. Could he really guide others when he was still rebuilding himself? But something in his heart whispered, yes, because you've been where they are. At the interview, the director asked him, what made you want to help others? Ryan smiled gently and replied, because I know what it is like to lose everything, and how hard it is to start again. They hired him on the spot. Today, Ryan Carter isn't rich, He doesn't wear designer suits or chase status, but every morning, he wakes up with a reason, and that's worth more than any paycheck. He teaches others that failure isn't the opposite of success, it's the foundation of it. He reminds them that you can lose everything, money, comfort, reputation, and still gain something far greater. Wisdom, humility, strength, and sometimes, on quiet nights, Ryan walks back to that same park bench where he once sat in the rain. He looks at the city lights, smiles softly, and says, "Thank you for breaking me, because that's how I was rebuilt." So if you're listening right now, feeling like everything's falling apart, maybe it's not falling apart. Maybe it's falling into place. Your pain is shaping you. Your failure is training you. Your story isn't over yet. It's just beginning. Subscribe to Calmrise USA for more true-to-life stories that heal the mind, calm the heart, and remind you that you're never alone.